In this video, we're going to talk about how to be single, how to be happy by yourself, why you should be happy by yourself, and some traps that you need to look out for, things that might keep you lonely as you're getting comfortable finally being single. So where's this information coming from? Myself, as a previous serial monogamist, as they call it, somebody who used to hop from long-term relationship to long-term relationship, never being comfortable being single, or when I'm out of a relationship, just always having people in my life, satisfying those intimate needs and jumping from person to person. So first things first, I think it's important to define what is not being single. Being single is not avoiding commitment while sleeping around with a bunch of different people. Being single is not dating for entertainment and ghosting when it becomes serious or there's a hope of a relationship coming out of that interaction. And being single is not having a bunch of text or DM relationships, then refusing to meet up when somebody asks you to hang out in person or you're doing the same. And finally, being single is not posting on social media in hopes of a flood of comments or DMs that are going to reinforce your worthiness as a person. Validation from external sources. So in my opinion, if you're doing any of those behaviors, you are not actually single. And what we're going to talk about in this video is how you can get into being truly single and why you would want to. So we'll start off with what is being single. When you are genuinely single, you give yourself validation, you give yourself praise, and you give yourself love. More specifically, what that looks like is you provide your own source of entertainment. You have self-amusement. You can get yourself going without the stimulation of an external person. You rely on methods to cope that don't require the external whatever from an intimate partner. And you know deep down in your core that you are whole without the reinforcement from anything or anyone external. Now let's talk about how you can actually get to that place. So this is a 3-step process. It takes some work. It takes some hard reflection. You're going to see things you don't want to see, but this is all part of personal growth. And this is going to ensure that you don't just keep bringing the same self into each relationship and dealing with the same problems over and over again throughout the course of your life in relationships. So step number 1 is next time you feel the need to text that person you know you probably shouldn't, or post on social media for that external validation, just stop. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What am I feeling? You just want to see what bubbles up. For me, it's usually loneliness or fear of loneliness. Or sometimes it's a sinking feeling that nobody wants me. As these feelings bubble up, you don't want to look at them with any judgment. You just want to look at them as if you're reading words in a book. You're just seeing it for what it is, and you're not attached to the feeling. Step 2, now this might sound counterintuitive, but I actually want you to send the text to the person or do the post. So without judgment of the reasons why you feel you need to do it, just do it anyways. So send the text or post the post. Now on this second step, once you get the response, either the likes, comments, DMs, or you get the text from the person, then you want to stop and ask yourself again in that immediate moment, what am I feeling? So you want to see what comes to the surface. For me, it's usually a rush of excitement, maybe the feeling that I can finally take a deep breath or a weight off of my shoulders. And then you want to follow up and do some introspection and ask yourself why you feel that feeling. For me, the reason why I'll feel those feelings is I can take that deep breath knowing that somebody actually loves me. I know somebody cares about me once I see that external data. And what this tells me is, therefore, I will not be alone forever. These feelings of loneliness are temporary. They are a wave that will pass. And this is why I'm doing that behavior. I'm trying to cull that feeling. I'm trying to not feel that feeling. All right, now step number 3, with this new self-awareness, you want to ask yourself, why do I feel like I need this feeling? What is that primary driver, the thing that's driving me to chase that new feeling? In my case, I'd ask myself, why does it feel like I need to know that somebody cares about me? And the answers that would bubble up would be because I don't care about myself, because I don't feel lovable, or maybe because everybody I've ever loved has left me. Now, this can get really deep, really scary, but it's all part of the process. In order to be single, you need to know your wounds, you need to know your triggers, and why you're actually seeking that external validation by using somebody else. Now, step 4, we want to ask ourselves, how can I address these triggers at the root? And how can I challenge these triggers? See, these thoughts, these beliefs, these are just stories that we're telling ourselves in the mind. And you'll realize sometimes when you just challenge the thoughts that have been running through your mind, they dissipate. The charge of the energy just disappears. So the way I might execute that for myself, if I'm challenging this belief of I don't care about myself, I would ask myself, what would caring for myself look like? Or why should I care for myself? Listing off some reasons why it might be a worthy pursuit to care for myself. If I'm addressing the belief of I feel unlovable, I might ask myself, well, who made me feel unlovable? Where did I adopt this way of thinking? And why am I treating them as God? And finally, what are some things I could focus on that reinforce the fact that I am lovable? Continuing to challenge the belief of everyone I've ever loved has left me, I would ask myself, is this the genuine truth? Or did I leave myself long before they left me? Do I have anybody in my life that has loved me and never left me? See, we're trying to challenge these beliefs, challenge these stories we're telling ourselves in our head. And if I can identify a person that has actually loved me, I'd ask myself, well, why do I think that person loves me? Why do I think that person has stuck around? I was telling this story that everyone I've ever loved has left me. Now, there's this one person I identified. Maybe it's my mom, maybe it's my sister, etc. Why did they never leave me? Give yourself reasons why that person has never left you. All right, so step number 4 covered the logical side. We're making agreements with ourselves to reinforce new beliefs that support our journey in becoming single. Now, step number 5 is more in the emotional aspect. We're going to talk about that feeling we got in step 2 when we sent the text or posted the post anyways, and we got the feeling back. We got that text back, we got the likes and the comments, we identified how that made us feel. So what we want to do in step 5 is we want to ask ourselves, is there anywhere else we can get that feeling that we felt? If you're not tracking, I'm talking about how you felt when you received that external validation in the exercise in step 2. So you want to ask yourself, where else can I get this feeling? What can I do? What can I think about? What can I be in order to embody that mental state? And specifically, we want to ask ourselves, what can we focus on to feel this feeling without seeking that external validation? You want to ask yourself, can I breathe through it? Can I pray through it? Can I meditate? Can I read through it? Can I journal through it? Can I yoga through it? Can I journal gratitudes for all of my past relationships and the good that came out of them? Can I call my mom? Can I pet my dog and tell him I love him? Or could I look through photos of me and my best friends, reminding myself that I'm loved? So as for exercises, that's about as far as it goes, or what we can do in one video. If you need help with it, if you need somebody to talk it through, just shoot me a DM. I'm not selling you anything. Just want to help you out through it. Now, what I want to leave you with is the importance of actually becoming single. Whether you use my exercises or something else, it's my true belief that you cannot enter a healthy relationship until you've learned to be single. And again, we're not talking about periods of time where you're avoiding commitment and sleeping around, or keeping text relationships and not meeting up, or bailing on relationships once they get a little bit serious. We're not talking about that society single, which everyone tries to shove down your throat. We're talking about genuine satisfaction coming from internals. We're talking about self-amusement, and we're talking about peace within. A caveat to that is nobody is perfect, and I believe this whole concept of coming into a relationship whole is stupid and impossible. Like, nobody is going to feel completely whole, completely perfect, and the other person's going to be feeling the same, and you guys come together and just shoot off to the stratosphere. I don't believe in that fairy tale myth, but what I do believe is you have to have a degree of self-validation, self-amusement before you can enter a relationship. Otherwise, it puts too much pressure on the partner, and you'll just find yourself repeating these toxic dynamics, trauma bonding, and things that keep you guys apart as you're trying to grow together. So hope some of this helped, and let me know down in the comments if it did. Thanks for watching. Talk soon.